Hi everyone, this is the first video out of the three videos that I'm going to create on how to self-prepare for CAT 2022 section-wise. And in this video, we are going to talk about the VARC section. VARC primarily constitutes of two broad categories. One is reading comprehensions, that is RCs, and second is grammar. RCs constitute about 70% of the questions since the last few years, and grammar constitutes 30%, which tells you that it's fairly important to concentrate on RCs when you're preparing for this particular section. When I prepared for VRC in 2017, my goal was to concentrate on RCs such that I increase the number of RCs solved per day exponentially. Whereas when it came to grammar, I maintained a consistent rate of preparation from the beginning. The first month, I only concentrated on RCs. I'm going to talk about the number of sets or questions I solved in each of these cases. But for now, let me first focus on grammar part so that we can put it aside and focus on what's more important. So when it comes to grammar, there are three kinds of topics that are asked: para summary, para jumbles, and odd one out. I will talk about them more in detail in the upcoming videos. For now, what you need to know is that the more you practice these kinds of questions, the better you are going to get at solving them. This is the only way to understand how to solve them. I will link a video for your reference that I created on para jumbles, which you can see when you start solving para jumbles and in case you face any difficulty. For now, I will link a couple of resources in the description that you can check out to see what kind of questions these are and how you can practice them. The dedicated resource for solving these kind of questions would either be the past year papers, because these have been coming since the last few years, or you can also use any other book that is used for self preparation in case of VARC. I am aware of one book which is Arun Sharma's VARC book. I'm going to talk about it in detail ahead, but for now, that's one resource I would surely recommend for grammar part. As the name suggests, reading comprehension involves two skills. First is reading and second is comprehension. Reading involves reading speed. How quickly can you read the paragraph? And comprehension means how quickly can you understand the meaning of each and every paragraph so that you are able to answer the questions correctly. Now, in order to build reading speed first, you need to read enough. And not only read enough, you need to read in the right format. Let me tell you what that means. In the final exam, you are going to face a laptop and you are going to solve the reading comprehensions using that. It involves a lot of scrolling and you can't even mark anything on the desktop or the laptop, which means you need to learn how to read the passage in the same format as it is going to appear in front of you during the exam. So, reading online is going to help you with improving your reading speed. I would recommend you to read at least two or three resources per day. It can be editorials, it can be any online book, ebook that you're referring to, or it can also be any free RC that you're referring to. I will put links to some free RCs that you can solve in the description. So these are the three resources that you can use in order to improve your reading speed. A question that a lot of people ask at this moment is, do you need to focus on reading novels? No, it's absolutely not required. I did not read any novel during my preparation. You can read any kind of resource, but the varied the resources, that is the different types of resources that you read, the better it's going to be. And the second question a lot of people ask is, should you focus on vocabulary? I did not have a very good vocabulary, and that was perfectly fine. You only need to be able to understand the context of that word. The next skill that you need to develop for RCs is comprehension abilities. Now, in order to improve that, there are two particular skills you require. The first skill is that of paraphrasing. I'll explain what that means, but the second skill that you require is rational building. Let's start off with paraphrasing. When you read a passage, the biggest problem that you're going to face is that there are going to be multiple paragraphs in a passage, and by the end of the passage, you won't remember what was said in which para. In order to solve this problem, there is a strategy called paraphrasing. What that essentially means is that you summarize each para of the passage and substitute it with just a couple of words or a phrase. The reason you'll be able to do it is because every author has to abide by this rule wherein they can talk about only one idea in a particular para of a passage. An important point that I would like to mention here is that while you are reading the passage or you're paraphrasing it, you don't have to note down any facts or even remember them. Because when you have written the summary of a passage in a few words, you know where the facts lie. You can simply come back to that para and refer to it. When you are using a laptop in order to read any passage, so you read online, but you take out a piece of paper and you note down what each paragraph constitutes just in a few words to be able to summarize it. Essentially, the agenda is that in the long run, you should be able to do it without the pen and paper. You should be able to do it mentally after a couple of months. The second skill that you need to develop for comprehension abilities is that of rational building. What it means is that there are four options in each question, and three out of them are going to be wrong. You need to figure out what is the reason or the rationale in each and every option that makes it incorrect. Rational building not only involves understanding why a particular option is wrong, but even more importantly, why the correct option is correct. So, this can be developed if you have a dedicated resource which essentially gives you good enough analysis of every RC. I followed Arun Sharma's VARC book for this purpose. I'll surely put the link to this book in the description, but if you want a review of this book before going ahead and purchasing it, do let me know. I would be happy to create a review by purchasing it online first. Earlier, I said you should read online, and now I'm recommending you an offline resource. The reason is reading should be done online, but rational building can be done both online or offline, depends on where you find a good enough resource. But the intent of using an offline resource would be to develop your comprehension skill and not your reading skill. Now, coming to the last part of the video, which is how many questions did I solve a day? So, in the month of Jan, for grammar, I did not do anything. For RCs, I used to solve 2 to 3 sets per day and used to read 2 to 3 editorials. Going forward from Feb to May, I read about 3 to 5 editorials per day and solved the same number of RCs per day. And for grammar, I solved about 10 to 15 questions per day. Going forward, May onward, I tried to make sure that I remain consistent with grammar, same 15 questions per day, but for RCs, I increased that number to 5 to 7 RCs per day. My reading remained consistent after that. I read 3 to 5 editorials per day. So this is the entire reading schedule that I followed. If you do have any questions related to reading or comprehension or VRC section, please make use of the comment section. I would be replying to each and every comment that you may have with regards to VARC, and don't forget to tell me whether you would want a review of the VRC book for Arun Sharma. Thanks a lot for watching this video.